Speed. Action.
Many people are not familiar with the country of South Sudan, but one thing that we haven't seen recently is the fact that the country has been at war, and has been at war several times in many of our lives. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how your life has been impacted by the war.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Abel, as I have just mentioned. I really grew up in South Sudan. I was born during the war. I grew up there and I started my education in South Sudan. I have never gone anywhere in South Sudan. The war actually was so bad. It was impacting on my studies in many ways. In the first place, I was born to first ruralist parents. My father had never gone to school. He was just a farmer and a cattle keeper. So I was born in that family. I grew up to 12 years. Then I thought of joining the school. There was a school nearby us, and it was an under-tree school. There were no buildings. The people who were offering themselves to teach were soldiers who were wounded from the war, and they had managed to go to a school in other countries when they were taken for their military trainings in places closer to Kenya and Uganda, and they had access to go to school to learn the alphabets. So those soldiers were the ones giving the education once they were wounded and brought home. So I decided to join the school under the tree there. So the school life was actually very, very, very complicated, with anti-nobs, with displacement, with some people being killed, the relatives, that could just discourage me stopping the school, running for safety, and all the related crises.
Do you think that your parents ever thought that you'd be in a position where you could go to medical school?
To medical field?
Mhm.
Yeah, that time, that was the beginning. That was when I was in basic school. My father, because he was still alive by then, my father told me that you better go to the school. I was the son he selected among his sons. He had so many sons, but he told me you better go to school so that you become a doctor. So this was what my father was telling me. You better go to school so that you become a doctor. Though I will have nothing to take you to school with, you should go to school so that you become a doctor in the future. So all along my struggle in basic school, that's primary level, which go up to class 8 in our country, the system there. So I finished my primary school, which is the basic school, and I had interest of developing my studies in sciences. So I finished basic school and continued my studies up to high school, which is secondary level. So I had also developed interest in studying sciences so hard, biology, chemistry, mathematics, physics, and the rest. So I still had an interest, and this interest was actually generated by the performance I had in sciences in basic school and in high school, related to what my father used to tell me, that you better go to school so that you come out as a doctor, so that you will be helping people.
Is this dream that he had for you something that you still think about?
This is the dream he had for me, which I kept on thinking, and it was now being generated by the performance and the interest I developed in sciences when I got to the school.
Do you think your teachers noticed your interest?
Very, very interested. Even when I finished basic school and I had financial problems, I could not get to the higher school quickly. I had to join teaching. I volunteered myself to serve as a teacher, teaching the pupils from lower primary school. Primary 1 to primary 4, I was teaching science subjects when I was helping them in the community school. So I really had an interest. Even those years also, when I finished basic school, I had a chance to work with some non-governmental organizations. And I finished to get employed in one of the health fields. So I was employed as a nutrition extension worker at Fayam level. And I had also a third run related to health in nutrition. That one again was a sign of getting my career wish to develop in medicine.
What do you think is the greatest impact that you've been able to make in that capacity as a nutrition worker?
As a nutrition worker, actually, as a war-torn area, South Sudan had very high rate of malnutrition. When I was working with this NGO who was serving malnourished children, we really served so many malnourished children. so many of them, and I could even see that nutrition, if you have good knowledge of nutrition, you can save many people during the war, and many people being affected by hunger in any part of the world. That one was also generating my interest in serving my people in one way or other. Should I manage to get an access to study education or study health, which is related to nutrition, so I can help people in so many ways. Now, like now, as I have now gotten this good chance, if I graduate as a medical doctor and I get to know something in the medical field, I can help people in many ways. I can help malnourished children who have medical complications. I can use the experience I got during the time I was working as an extension worker for nutrition to actually analyze the situation of the malnourished child. So it can impact me in so many ways. And I have the knowledge I might have gained can actually help me assist people in South Sudan in many ways through the experience I got.
So why do you think there's so many malnourished children in South Sudan?
There are so many malnourished children because many people are poor. The poverty is there because this insecurity keep on repeating itself. So you find that people are being displaced from one place to another where they are not familiar. Maybe the land is not fertile for them to cultivate. They may also have no seed to. So those things contribute to poverty. So they end up being fearing of losing their life to the enemy or to the crisis, political related things, and they will have no time now to set up things for their life. So you find that the vulnerable people are easily affected, the children, the under 5 and the pregnant mothers. So that has actually put up the hunger gap in South Sudan. And it happens when I was working as a nutrition worker, we were actually helping people like those ones from the poor family and the displaced one along the border during the conflict.
Have you ever been displaced?
Yes, I have ever been displaced internally when the war was so intense towards our area. So I got displaced by internally for some time.
So what do you, okay.
Yeah, so despite all those difficulties of the war, I managed to complete my basic school and went as far as high school, which is secondary level, and came back again and worked with many NGOs. I worked as a tutor for some time with a certain organization teaching teachers, was a teacher trainer. I also came and worked again with an organization called ACF, Action Against Hunger, using the first experience that I got in nutrition also to serve as a supervisor, field supervisor for nutrition, running the outpatient therapeutic programs with that NGO. Then my interest got developed and I had also a wish and interest of furthering my studies in either health, any field in health or medicine. Then I got a good, I got a scholarship. The government, they sent me to the nursing school. So I did nursing school for 2.5 years, which I finished last year in August. So I came back home. I also got a job with a certain organization, IRC, International Rescue Committee, which is an American-based organization as an emergency health response officer. So where I worked with them for 4 months and left.
What was your most memorable case during that time as a nurse? What was the most memorable situation that you faced when being a nurse in South Sudan?
There are so many cases, but I could mention one where a certain school girl came with a dramatic case, a serious one. So she came to the hospital. She was okay. So she just came to the hospital. Then suddenly she developed a dramatic shock. So we tried by all means administering the oxygen, giving the drugs being prescribed by the doctor. We could not manage to rescue her life, so she passed away. The problem was that actually the oxygen which we were managing was not that standard because the hospital was so poor, all the equipment were not in place, but we were trying our best from zero things, but we could not manage to rescue the life of that. That girl actually finished secondary school and went up to senior 6, and she should have not died simply like that. I was so much scared. I was not really happy for the death of that girl. And so many other cases, like people who were brought shot, people who were shot and brought gun wounds, some were bleeding to death because there was no quick medical assistance being held. Cases like there are no blood in the blood banks, there are no people offering blood, there are no good techniques being used to collect the blood, equipment are lacking, some units in the hospital were not well equipped, and there are no trained specialists who can handle cases related to their field.
So what do you think is the general attitude towards sickness or illness in South Sudan? If somebody gets sick today, what will people say?
Some people fall sick and stay longer without reporting to a health facility or to a doctor. Someone will just walk while he or she is sick until she is completely seriously sick. Then this is when he or he will go to a health
Why do
center.
you think that's the case?
Because there is no health awareness generally. Only few people have knowledge about health. Not everybody has knowledge about health. The peer who are trained are the one giving services at higher level like in the state, but in the village there is no person with health background. So you find that people walk when they are sick. Though people go to the health center, also there will be no good health care services be given to that person. Sometimes the person may go away and there's no